Hi everyone, this is Carol from Healthcare Potholes with Christian Faith. Going to share a little bit about my Thursday. And as you get close to God in your walk with God and Christ, which is, I believe in the Trinity, which God and Jesus are the same. And so, even though when he was born, he was the Son of God, and he still is the Son of God, but people have talked about the Trinity, and I don't understand all the particulars, but I do know that God and Jesus are pretty close to the same. So they call it the Trinity. So if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. Okay, so, and I'll try to find a passage in the Bible over the weekend where I can share some things, and maybe someone has the verses right there that they can share with me online, because I do read my comments, I do read my emails and stuff like that, my messages. So anyhow, so I found my brother went out to throw some trash in the can, and it's our trash day on Thursday, and he came in and he says, I don't know, we're going to get our driveway done. Carol next door doesn't have her garbage can out. She's also a Carol. And when she moved in, it was really funny because she had a Jackie on her other side, and I had a Jackie on my side. So the two, Carol and I, used to call ourselves the Hydrox in the middle of the cookie. And then Jackie moved and down the road moved and down the road moved. They change all the time in this neighborhood for some reason. But anyhow, so it was sad. It was very sad to see Jackie go because she was a nurse as well. But I realized this morning she wasn't around, and I got thinking, well, maybe she's sick, maybe she's not feeling good, maybe someone's sick in her family, maybe something happened. I better call and check on her. And so I went ahead and I called, and I found she was on vacation in Arizona. I woke her up. Oops. So I felt bad about it. I realized I was going to have to go out and shovel the drive. I sent a text message over to my neighbor on the other side, Jackie, to see if she could send one of her kids over to help shovel. And I didn't hear back, and I was getting worried that maybe they were in school and she couldn't do it, or maybe they weren't home. I don't know. Maybe they were on vacation. I don't know. So I didn't hear back right away. I did eventually hear back, but she has a toddler, so she's very busy with her toddler. So, amongst all the other kids, she's always coming and going and different things. So I thought, well, Gary, I think you and I'll have to go out and shovel the drive. So I got showered and we went out to shovel the drive. And I have to sit on a walker to shovel. And just when you're disabled, life is so different. So I sat on the walker, and my walker was sliding sideways all the way down the drive. She had a video camera. It would have been funny about it, but I'd have to put the shovel in the snowbank, and then I'd have to go back and straighten the walker out and get closer to where I had shoveled, and then, and it took me a long time. My brother had 2 strips down before I even got down to the end of the drive before the sidewalk. So I eventually got down there, and I figured sitting on the walker was the safest way to go, but I didn't, was sliding sideways, I don't know. And so I got down there, and at one point I said to God, it would be nice if someone would come and shovel my drive. I says, all these people in my neighborhood know that I'm in a wheelchair. You think someone could have saw that my drive wasn't shoveled and come and lend a hand. And even though Carol catches it all the time, I bought a snowblower 2 years ago, and my gas is old. They could have just given me some gas for my snowblower. I would have appreciated it, because here I have a gas can with old gas in, and I don't know what to do with it. And so anyhow, I got down to the sidewalk, and I saw everybody's sidewalk was done, and I said, well, I got to do my sidewalk, or the city could technically ticket me. and I don't have the funds to pay for a ticket. So I thought, well, I'll struggle doing the sidewalk, and they'll see that I at least struggled, even if I have one path done. And Postal Service was coming down on his mail route, and he was getting ready to put mail in my box. I said, can you please not put any mail in my box unless it's food coupons? And he chuckled. And I said, I have a P.O. box, so I don't need anything put in there. Because it's usually just junk mail that they throw in there when you have a P.O. box. And he delivered a package across the street, and he came back. Maybe he was thinking about things, I don't know. But he came back and he says, you know what, ma'am? I'll do your sidewalk for you, but I got to be quick about it because I got to get on my route. And I said, oh, thank you. So then he did the other side, which shocked me. So I had everything done. So I walked, other than the snow that was in between where the two tires could go, and the four tires, the two on each side. So I went back up to the garage and I sat down to catch my breath for a few minutes, and then I got caught my breath, and I went over to where the walker normally sits. And I was thinking, well, maybe I should use that walker to go up to the stair. Now, that was God working, telling me to use the walker to go to the stair. But I put the walker over where it belonged, and I normally can grab hold of my car and steady on my car and get up to where I need to go. And lo and behold, if my other shoe didn't get caught on the other shoe, my feet got tangled up and down I fell. And boy, did I fall hard on concrete. I knocked up against my car and went down, and it was darn scary. And I found out the concrete is really cold. And my brother, he didn't shovel away from the garage. So as I struggled to try and get up, I kept falling back down, which wasn't a good thing. So I was yelling for help for about 10 minutes. And he finally got out of what he was doing and was in the laundry room, and he heard me and he came rushing out. And my dogs were carrying on. I mean, they heard Mommy yelling. They know how to get me up off the floor. That's one thing with service dogs, is you learn how to brace on them. And they learn how to steady so you can grab hold of them and try to get up. It takes a lot of training to get a dog to that point. And you have to have a dog that's got good solid joints. So that's important to know. So anyhow, I'm down on the ground and trying to figure this out. My brother comes, and I said, well, shovel where my feet are so I can get up, number one. And so he did. Push it down a little ways. I told him to call 911 because I didn't think he would be able to get me up. And so he brought the walker around to the front of me, and I struggled trying to get up. And about the only thing I could do after he got some bags to put under my knees that were lawn bags because they didn't slip as much as the plastic bags. So he put the lawn bags under my knees, and I was able to get up on my knees and put my front end on the walker. But I just couldn't get my legs quite under me. So I got him to get the wheelchair, and I was able to ease back into the wheelchair from the position that I was in. And by that time, the paramedics had showed up. And they wanted to make sure I was okay. They even rolled an ambulance because they didn't honestly know what they would find. And I didn't know if I'd broken anything. And with my hardware in my neck, I have to be very careful of falls. So this is like the second time. I fell last year and I fell this year. And so I was thinking about my videotapes, and they made sure I was okay. I told them I could move my arms, I could move my legs, and I was talking, so that was a good thing. They asked if I hit my head. I said no, and they said okay. So then all of a sudden they grabbed the shovels and they start shoveling my drive down to the sidewalk. which I greatly appreciated. And they shoveled my walkway up to the house where I could get my wheelchair in and out and different things. And I told them, I said, I'm so done with this world. You know, I mean, I was more embarrassed, I think, than anything else, about falling. But then I got thinking as I was sitting there in the wheelchair and they were waiting for me to collect everything and get up, and they said, well, we want to make sure you get into your house okay. And I said, okay. So they made sure that I got into the house okay, and I sat into the chair and my brother got lunch and put the dogs out and fed them, and then off we went to the infusion center. Well, by this time we heard a little tap on the door, and it was the neighbor kid next door coming over, one of the boys, and he shoveled my drive, the rest of it, and his friend came over from across the street that's 2 years older, and she helped shovel, and one of the boy's sisters was there at the beginning making sure he got going with the shoveling. And so everything worked out. I got my driveway shoveled, and I just said to God, it'd be nice if someone would come help shovel. So not only did I have the Postal Service, which I want to thank profusely for doing my walkway, that was very nice. And I want to thank the paramedics that came out, and I could have laid more on the cold ground, but I was freezing with my neuropathy and I had to get up. And they shoveled my drive, so I want to thank them for their shoveling and doing that for me. I greatly appreciated it. And then also I want to thank the neighbor kids for helping out shoveling the rest of my drive. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if we get more snow and Carol's still in Arizona, please come shovel. So I'm sitting here thinking, Satan was working overtime. And I had tried, this is funny part. I tried for over a half hour to get my shoes on, and they're size 10. And I normally can fit into a 10, but I've gone up to an 11 from swelling, and I'm wider. So I couldn't really get these shoes on very good, but I thought I had them on good enough. Apparently I didn't. So there's a message there we're going to be talking about probably in one of the other video clips. But I wanted to say that God is good. I mean, you're saying, but you fell. I fell, but the thing is, I did not break anything. I had a big, heavy coat on, and I had gloves on, and I skinned my knee, just like when I was a kid riding bikes and falling off my bikes, I skinned my knee. So I'm like, well, I can move my knees. I don't have any swelling around it. I did come and ice myself down where all my sores were. And I rested at the infusion center, and I rested after I got home and woke up at 1:45 midnight. So God is good. I got my driveway shoveled. I got to my infusion on time, which I was low, and I didn't break anything. Now, Satan was trying to make me break bones. He was trying to make me not get my driveway done. He had put these hurdles in there for me to have because he's upset that Jesus is getting another individual and soul over on his side. And you will notice as you walk with Christ, sometimes you'll become under attack by Satan. And right now, our country is really having a lot of that happen, where there's a lot of, I want to say satanic things going on. Inflation, high gas prices, people not able to pay their bills. And we had some credit cards that we were going to have to pay, and we couldn't make the payments this month. And with everything else, we didn't pay our house, our electric, our cable, any of that. And I said to my brother, I said, this isn't good. We're going to have to call these companies and talk to them and see what we could work out with them. And they were very nice about it. It shocked me, but they were very nice about it. Unlike when I was dealing with that other bank down there with my parents. But I have prayed about it too, and I think things will happen. I think doors are going to start opening up for us, and I feel very strongly about that. But I just want to say that when you walk with Christ, you will have Satan attacking you. And it might not be all the time, it might be at intervals, it might be once in a blue moon. It's just, but just know that he is trying to take you away from God. And you don't want that to happen. You want to stay with your walk with Christ. You want to be in harmony with Christ. You want to rebuke Satan out of your life. And, I sat there and I said, even though I've fallen and I was crying buckets because I was embarrassed, that was me. But God spared me when I went down. I could have, my shoulders are sore, my neck is sore with the hardware. I could have done a lot of damage. I could have snapped my hardware. I could have hit my head. I could have broken bones. I could have done something to my knee and had to have surgery, like tore the ACL. Could have tore my elbow, my rotator cuff, and I can freely move everything. And the more I move, of course, I took Tylenol after it happened, and then I took Tylenol just a little while ago, but I'm okay. I will be okay. I sprain stuff. It'll heal. It'll heal. And, I'm praying to God, please come down and provide me some pain relief. And I'm sure He is, because He knew I fell. And He knows I'm doing His work by talking about Christ. And that's such a relief. Now, someone today, I'm sure she goes to an infusion where I do, and she lost her brother. She's taken very, very, very hard. And just like when I lost my brother, I took it very, very, very hard. And then I lost my mom, and I took that really hard. And then I lost my service dog, all in a matter of a few short months. And when I talked about my brother, my nephew disowned me. That's his prerogative. He can do what he wants. But he's going to miss out on a lot of things with what I have to say. And this girl had to take her brother off of life support. And it was a difficult decision, and it was fast. And she's devastated, as I was. And she asked me, well, what song should I have played? She was trying to pick out music for the funeral service. And I told her what I had played at my dad's funeral. And I said, but a lot of it was military because he was a World War II vet. But then I threw in there Go Rest High on the Mountain by Vince Gill. And I said, I just love that song. I said, because I laid my parents to rest on a mountain down in Pennsylvania. So I said, check it out. So she did, and she loved it. And she's going to use that song at the funeral. So I just think that, and then I told her about humble and kind. I said, your brother looked like he was humble and kind. And so I don't know, she may use that too, but I gave her at least some song suggestions that I had. When you lose someone close that you love. And one of my friends' grandsons sent over a Bible verse, and I sent that as well over to her because it was so fitting from Isaiah. So he's a young Christian in his walk as well. And so that really helped her out, that verse. So she'll probably read that verse at the funeral. They're keeping it private, so I won't be going because it's just for family only. And but it's kind of like, wow, what I had happened and talked about helped someone else to try to put one foot in front of the other during a difficult time. And I was so grateful that I shared that story, even though I lost my nephew over the head of it. But God knows I'm doing the right thing. And his comment, speaking about my nephews, was, "What are you trying to accomplish?" Well, what I'm trying to accomplish is to let people know that in healthcare, there are going to be potholes along the way. You're going to lose people. They're not all going to be healed, and they're not all going to live. Death is part of the process, as well as being born and dying. And if I can help a few people along the way in their journey of their life that they're having to deal with death and dying, because I did recommend the book Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and I recommended On Death and Dying to her as well, and she's going. And I said, pick up a copy at the library. I mean, times are tough, so people don't have a lot of money. So she said she would do that, because it talks about the stages of grief that you go through. And sometimes it takes more than a year to go through the grief process. It could take 5 to 10 years. I've had people have it hit really a lot longer out than you expect. You think they're doing good, but they're really not. Some of them have never had that meltdown, and they're still angered about it. 5, 6 years later, they're still angered. And so I want to say that if I can help people in their walk with Christ, I can help people with their healthcare issues. That's what I'm here for. That is my goal. And I'm sorry he doesn't understand that. But I'm here to try to help people. I did a lot of teaching as a nurse, and I miss that about my nursing. And if I can still help people from behind the phone, I'm going to do it. Because I did a lot of teaching, and that's one of the things that my patients that came down to Joy Southfield missed, is my teaching. And so I'm doing that. So anyhow, I want to say, I'm going to clip this off because I need to get to bed and get some rest. But I want to say, stay clean with your walk with Christ. Know that Satan's going to try to attack every chance he can, because he's a nasty codger, as I call it. And just keep praying to God. Read your Bible. See if you can go to church, if there's a church around, or synagogue, or whatever, mosque. Keep your faith with Christ. And I don't know what some of the other religions believe, but I've had 2 friends lose their brothers close together. So I'm doing a lot to kind of help them through. So just know that Christ is moving, and he will see you through. He'll provide comfort for those that have lost their brothers. And if they believed in God and they forgave their sins, they're up with him without a doubt. Okay? So have a good night, and we will talk later.